Florida to kick off the 2022 program, and again, ready to go for this brand new season. Folks, Rob Howden alongside our special guest from today, Oliver Askew, the former USF2000 and Indy Lights champion, now running for the Avalanche Andretti team in Formula E. We'll come to Oliver in a bit. Really exciting weekend here in St. Petersburg. Beautiful, of course, essentially Chamber of Commerce weather, gorgeous blue skies, warm temperatures. Those of you who are tuning in from around the country or around the world, thank you so much for joining us here on Road to Indy TV. This is going to be a really special year. We've got some tremendous new drivers coming in to USF2000. Indy Pro, which will start things off today with, absolutely stacked. We've got some good rookies in here as well, some drivers from overseas. This is really going to be an absolutely tremendous season. One thing you're going to see, let's just kind of bring it in here, essentially a new race car to a certain extent this year, an update kit last year. We have the Halo now in both USF2000 and Indy Pro, the new Tatis USF22 and IP22. New Halo. Weren't able to put the Halo on the old chassis, so we had to come up with a new, essentially, tub for the car. Everything else around the car pretty much the same as last year. And again, excited by having that extra bit of safety. But it also has kind of raised the center of gravity a bit, so the team's still getting a good feel for the dynamics of the race car. Good fields as well, 16 in total at Indy Pro 2000, 19 here this weekend in USF, and there's a couple drivers waiting in the wings still to come to USF 2000, so we may see as many as 21 or 22, maybe even 23, 24 when we get to Barber Motorsports Park in April. This is a challenging racetrack, a tough one to start off the season, especially for the young drivers in USF 2000. But we're going to kick off what is essentially a back-to-back doubleheader today at St. Petersburg with Indy Pro 2000. This should be a fantastic battle. We've got, of course, drivers stepping in, former race winners like a Braden Eves. We've got a driver like Joey Foster coming over from Europe. But again, this is a tough racetrack. That's why this guy's here with me right now. Oliver Askew, you were a champion in USF 2000, champion in Indy Lights. What's it take to get fast around this racetrack? It's not easy.
First of all, I absolutely love this place. It has to be probably top three for me, top three circuits that I've been to and that I've raced at. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you again.
Good
to be here. It's good to be back in the Florida sun. So.
Right.
Yeah, this track is very tricky, but for me it all starts in the brake zones. So you have turn 1, turn 5, turn 10, quite heavy braking zones coming from a long straightaway. So yeah, in qualifying, I'd like a car with a strong front end, but in the race, maybe not so strong because traction starts to become an issue.
All right.
So yeah, those are a couple key elements.
You look around this track, obviously we're going to go racing here momentarily. Where are the primary passing opportunities? I guess first and foremost, you can probably go 6 wide in turn number 1. It doesn't mean you should, but that's probably really the first passing opportunity.
You got to be careful with the paint in turn 1 there. So it is a runway. You still have that paint, that white paint there that catches everyone out. You know, especially on the inside at those starts early in the weekend where it's still quite dirty. So yeah, passing zones for me, turn 1 definitely. Like I said, turn 5. Is it turn 5 back on
turn 4.
Turn 4.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's all right.
Turn 4, and then also turn 10. All corners that are following along straightaway.
So, is it all about braking here? Is it more about rolling the corner speed? Like how do you get by somebody? I guess that's one of the questions I have. If somebody's defending aggressively, what do you have to do when you're chasing somebody here? Is it really just trying to force them into a mistake?
Like most street tracks, it is very difficult to pass, right? So it is about realizing your strengths, right, and the weaknesses of the cars in front of you, and then, yeah, forcing them into a mistake is obviously the easiest way to get around.
Let's take a quick opportunity to talk about you, obviously, into Formula E this year. Obviously, one of our kind of legends of the road to Indy, having won 2 championships. Spent some time in IndyCar. Now you're with Avalanche Andretti in Formula E. You having fun?
I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, the traveling aspect of the sport, you know, being able to race internationally. The first race was in Saudi Arabia,
right.
Second in Mexico City, 2 places that I've never been to. So, yeah, and the racing is fantastic. The caliber of drivers in the series is phenomenal, and honestly, on a very steep learning curve right now. It's a car unlike anything I've driven in my life.
Imagine.
So, especially in the race trim where you're having to use the regen paddle and conserve energy.
Wow.
So it's kind of similar to fuel saving, maybe brake saving, similar to that, but it's still very different.
Here's a question I have for you. You're here this weekend. Did you bring your helmet?
Yeah,
Do you have your suit?
I do. I always do. As we saw last year, anything can happen. So I'm actually here on reserve for Andretti Autosport in case one of their 4 guys has an issue.
So that's the second question. Andretti for sure. What happens if somebody else needs somebody? Are you under contract? Can you go back to Rahal again?
Yeah, we got to talk to the big boss if that happens.
Again, getting ready to go for what will be a doubleheader to kick off the season here. 2 races today, one for Indy Pro 2000, one for USF 2000. Tomorrow morning, quite early, we'll have the second end of the doubleheader for Indy Pro, and then late morning on Sunday before the NTT IndyCar Series main event, USF 2000 will cap things off. Oliver, I asked you about the racetrack. That's one of the key things. This track is tough. How about the mindset coming into the first race of the year? You know, a lot of drivers will get freaked out that think they need to win, start strong. In my opinion, all you have to have is a good result. Is that kind of where you would come with on this as well? You won 2 championships.
There's a lot to lose here this weekend. You never really want to start the season off with a DNF, right? Because then you're constantly trying to catch up from that. So priority number 1, have a solid start. Of course, if the opportunity arises where you're running up front and able to possibly win the race, and you got to make that happen, right? These guys are racing drivers. They're here to win, here to stand on the top step of the podium. But it's also big picture. You know, in the road to Indy, it's all about winning the championships, not so much the races. So.
Have you followed any of the Indy Pro 2000 drivers? Do you know any of the guys that are in the grid right now? Is there somebody that you're saying, hey, I think this guy's got a chance to win this thing today?
Yeah, I think to name one, I think Braden Eves has a good shot. Honestly, haven't had a deep look into the fields. I had a glance at the USF 2000 field yesterday, and they're all very different names that I've never seen before. But it's awesome to see younger drivers looking into the series, looking to make it to IndyCar. So I'd look at the second-year drivers in Indy Pro and Indy Lights to make the big difference this year.
Listen, I keep talking about that it's the second-year drivers that do well here at St. Petersburg, but you never were a second-year driver. That's the crazy thing. You won. As a rookie, you won USF 2000. You finished third, I think. You finished third in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Then you won as a rookie in Indy Lights. You're debunking that theory that we all talk about, but it is something that's true. The second-year drivers have
an advantage.
An advantage, sure. Right? Yeah.
I didn't have the option. I had to keep winning to keep progressing.
So Braden Eves, again, a second-year driver, really second and a half year. That truncated season back in 2020 with his horrific wreck at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Had a strong season last year with Exclusive Autosport and did extremely well. He's a driver, I think, that once he's in his comfort zone, that's when Braden really kind of excels. If he's happy with the race car, he can fight for any race win.
Yeah. It's good to see him with Jay Howard as well. I think they have a strong package, and looking to see him do well this year.
Watch for some drivers, some of the younger drivers do well. We talked about second-year drivers being good. The guy on the pole is actually going to be Josh Green. His first year in Indy Pro 2000, got a race win last year in USF. Still running with the Turn 3 Motorsports crew, and they build a great car. He'll start on the pole. Outside of the front row, Anam Ahmed for Hunkos Hollinger Racing. I'll go through the grid, full grid, once I get back up to the PA booth. But there's a lot of young drivers that look really strong. Nolan Siegel and Kiko Porto for D-Force Racing. Of course, Kiko Porto running the Road to Indy Scholarship colors, having won the Cooper Tires USF 2000 title last season. I spoke with Kiko a little bit earlier. You'll see that on Road to Indy TV and on the social media channels as well. But then you get, again, the second-year drivers' time for them to step up. And, again, one of the drivers I'm really watching this weekend, GB3 driver Louis Foster, from Exclusive Autosport. This is the guy that I think can step things up, a very talented driver. Did really well in practice, pretty solid in qualifying as well. His first ever time on a street circuit. That's something that's unbelievable to get that job done. But one thing to watch when we get ready to go here, folks, we're just a couple of minutes away from starting this race. Wherever you're watching from right now, turn 1. This will be crucial, as you know. Oliver, trying to get through the opening corner is going to be exciting, folks. Big thanks to Oliver Askew for joining us, man. We do appreciate it. We'll have a new guest at the start of every one of our shows. But before we jump into this, let's have a look at a recap of the 2021 season. Braden Eves winning the opening round of Indy Pro 2000. McElroy's racing to win. Green. Eves is already celebrating. He is the winner. Christian Rasmussen, victorious. So there's Eves looking to the inside of the line. Not enough. Christian Rasmussen with the race win. Here comes Artem Petrov hanging in the air. Green. Go to the bottom of the racetrack. Who gets a better run? truck from Mexico City, the victor in the opening round Indy Pro 2000, Manuel Suleiman. And Christian Rasmussen wins the second race of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship visit here to Road America. Green, green, green! And Hunter McElroy from Pack Racing, a well-deserved victory. Driver to the wall. We got two drivers to the wall, one north to Petrov. Great knee with the win over his rival. Great start for Gold. McElroy thinking about driving around the outside. Ladies and gentlemen, his first win in Indy Pro 2000, Reese Gold. What a comeback after being at the wall. Worldwide Technology race led to the winner, Artem Petrov. Yeah.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day.
Ring Power has the equipment you need when you need it, daily, weekly, or monthly. To rent, visit catrentalstore.com.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cap dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day.
Ring Power has the equipment you need when you need it, daily, weekly, or monthly. To rent, visit catrentalstore.com.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cap dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done day after day.
Ring Power has the equipment you need when you need it, daily, weekly, or monthly. To rent, visit catrentalstore.com.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the Road to Indy. We can also qualify
The Indy Pro 2000 race. We should also let you know that the SRO GT America autograph session is at 12:30 today out in front of the Mahaffey Theater. Cars are just about set to head out onto pit lane, and Rob Howden rejoins me for race number 1 of this weekend.
Yeah, great to have Todd Lewis with us here. Again, say hello to those of you tuning into the live broadcast on Road to Indy TV or the Road to Indy TV app. Yeah, we got drivers getting set to go. 16 in total. We're set to take the green. I'm being told we'll only have 15. We had damage, an incident in qualifying earlier today for Christian Brooks, the young Californian for Exclusive Autosport, making contact with essentially the apex of turn number 2, shot him over to the outside of the wall, and the damage to that race car essentially terminal. They're not going to be able to get that car fixed in time for the weekend, so that'll be it for Christian Brooks. He will not be on the racetrack. Driver won 3 of 4 races for Exclusive Autosport in USF2000 here in St. Petersburg. Will be in no starter. So a tough beginning to the season for Brooks. I'm sure that team will press the reset button and regroup. But again, yeah, terminal damage to that machine, that Tatis IP22. Again, the safety of that machine, Christian's fine, everything's good. But man, tough to see that happen for him. Todd, drivers finally rolling out from the paddock here to get underway. This is going to be exciting. We'll let the drivers get out here, but man, this is going to be the start of the season. We've been waiting 5 months for this.
And this is what everyone looks forward to. You're on a great street circuit here in St. Petersburg. It's it's a challenging circuit. You have the big long front straightaway heading into corner 1 that is tantalizing and teases you with opportunity to pass into corner number 1. Then you have more technical parts back in 6, 7, 8 through that part of the track. And again, other passing opportunities, but we saw a lot of activity during the qualifying session. I expected during the race.
Yeah, in our pre-show, had a chance to sit down, as those of you followed online, with Oliver Askew, former champion in Indy and USF2000, champion in Indy Lights, and of course third as well in Indy Pro 2000. Stormed his way through the Road to Indy, and he kind of gave us some insight as well. It's super wide into turn number 1, but as Oliver said, you have to watch out for the painted areas. You lose a lot of grip into that area. You can pass there, inside of turn 4, and of course into turn number 10, that long straight into that hard left-hander. So the field working its way out here right now. We'll get an opportunity to have a look at the grid of these drivers. Let's have a look. Again, we have 15 drivers set to go, starting in the 15th position today for Pabst Racing. The driver out of Channahon, Illinois, it is Jordan Missig in the number 19. Missig planning a full season here in Indy Pro 2000. So Jordan lining up here in the 19 for Pabst Racing. Moving now up into the 14th spot. Driver from Ireland, a former Formula Ford Festival winner. That is Jonathan Brown for turn 3 Motorsports in the number 2. Brown, again, a very quick Irishman, first time here in the U.S. running on the Road to Indy, so I'm sure he'll be working to get himself up to speed throughout this race weekend. Tough place to start anytime here at St. Petersburg. Moving up into the row, it'll be Colin Kaminsky on the outside, veteran driver of the Road to Indy, coming through USF2000 and Indy Pro. Great to have him back after only a shortened season last year. Kaminsky at Homer Glen, Illinois. Pabst Racing number 27 for him, and he will be running there on the outside of row number 6. Alongside that row, his teammate from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin student Yuvan Sundaramurthy, a winner last year in the USF2000 championship, one of the many rookies we have here in Indy Pro 2000 this year. That will be the inside of row number 6. We'll go to row number 5 now. The outside. Actually, one driver I did miss was Jack William Miller in the number 40. I've got Christian Brooks still in my list here, and I'm trying to get through him. So in front of Sundaramurthy, into the top 10 right now, will be Salvador de Alba. Good to have De Alba with us here. Driver with a lot of experience in the Mexican NASCAR series, but has done a lot of Formula car racing as well. Tested for Andretti Autosport and Indy Lights last year. De Alba, a rookie in the number 6 machine out of Guadalajara, Mexico, starting 10th position. Inside of that row in the number 92, now living in Westfield, Indiana, but he's an Englishman by birth. Matt Roundgarito for Exclusive Autosport, the number 92, starting on the inside of row number 5. Go to row number 4, driver who topped spring training at Homestead a couple of weeks ago, Wyatt Prokachik in the number 5. Prokachik out of Jonestown, Colorado. And again, Prokachik running for J. Howard Driver Development, working his way up the grid. A good starting spot for Prokachik in the number 5. Inside of that row, starting in the 9th position, starting in the 7th position, the driver who won the Cooper Tires USF2000 championship last year. You see the beautiful Road to Indy livery for all the scholarship winners. That is Kiko Porto in the number 1 out of Brazil. Porto, very impressive last year and feels pretty good with the car. I had a chance to talk to him in the paddock earlier. He's ready to go here for D-Force Racing, and again, we'll launch from the inside of row number 4. Row 3 on the outside, another winner from last year, the number 55. That's Reese Gold out of Miami, Florida for Juncos Hollinger Racing. The Ticket Clinic, the sponsor on the side of that Juncos Racing Machine. The Juncos Hollinger team, multi-time Indy Pro 2000 champions, and this is going to be a big year for Reese Gold, his 4th season of Road to Indy competition. Inside of road number 3, it's a new team for Braden Eves at New Albany, Ohio. Those who follow the series remember that horrific wreck that he had at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Championship as well. Eves in the number 4 for J. Howard Driver Development, starting on the inside of row number 3. We'll go to row number 2 now on the outside. In the preview, I said Joey Foster. I corrected myself that it's Louis Foster. Joey Foster actually spent some time over here running USF2000, a multi-time Formula Ford winner. Joey not with us here. This is Louis Foster, another British driver who I think is going to be an absolute barn burner this year. It's going to be fun to watch what Louis is able to do. Again, running for Exclusive Autosport. Great qualifying run outside of row 2 for the rookie driver. Never been on a street circuit before, and to put it P4, that is impressive for Foster. He's going to be a championship contender before this is all said and done. Inside of that row, a driver that we've seen for a couple years here on the Road to Indy in USF2000. He is running for D-Force Racing, rookie at Apollo Alto, California, Nolan Siegel. Siegel in the number 8 machine, spent some time in a prototype car this year at the Daytona 24, the Rolex event, doing a lot of different racing. Siegel, again, qualifying 3rd here as a rookie in Indy Pro 2000. This is big, a 109.739 fast time for Nolan Siegel. 15 drivers are going to take the green. We'll put 2 on the front row, and then the off pole in the number 47 from London, England, but flying the flag of Pakistan. That is Anam Ahmed for Juncos Hollinger Racing in the number 47. Former world karting champion. The year that he won the senior world karting champion, the junior karting champion that year was a guy named Lando Norris. So Anam Ahmed, a very talented driver, worked his way up through the British Formula 3 and into the FIA Formula 3 ranks. We're thrilled to have him with us here for a full season with Juncos Hollinger. A 109.647 is fast lap. But the driver on the screen right now, a rookie driver on the pole position out of Mount Kisco, New York, a winner last year in USF2000. A big pole position for Turn 3 Motorsport. Peter Dempsey's operation as well. That is Josh Green, the rookie driver, a 109.611, just about 0.03 of a second quicker than Anam Ahmed. Green's going to lead them down to turn number 1 to kick off the 2022 Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires season. This is the Anderson Interior Contracting Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Todd, I'll tell you, this is an unbelievable field because we've got drivers that we've seen had success. We have race winners from USF2000, race winners from Indy Pro, and then you bring in a Joey Foster, you bring in an Anam Ahmed, you bring drivers like that with such a pedigree from Europe. We got some big drivers coming in from the south of the border as well. This is going to be a tremendous season with just absolutely stellar drivers.
The adrenaline and excitement is going to get the season started. As you mentioned, this is race number 1. Perfect conditions here in St. Petersburg. When do you want to talk about corner 1?
Let's go through the grid one more time. As we said, it's Green and Ahmed on row 1, Siegel and Foster on row 2, Eves alongside Reese Gold on row 3, Porto, Prokachik on row number 4. Moving back to row 5, Matt Round Garrido alongside Salvador de Alba. Row 6 will have Yuvan Sundar Murli and Colin Kaminsky. And then row 7 and 8 to cap things off, Jack William Miller, Jonathan Brown, and Jordan Missig. As we said, the damage to the car of Christian Brooks, not repairable to get him out here. In fact, he will not run tomorrow morning either, so tough one for him. But we hope to see him back at Barber Motorsports Park. And now we talk about turn number 1. It's always exciting here. You know this. They come out at turn number 12. They roll it down the straightaway. you tell these drivers there's no grip on the inside because you never drive on the inside, but it's just so wide, it's so inviting. Someone always wants to dive down to the apex.
It does, but we have also seen in the Indy Pro 2000, USF2000 as well, that drivers are smart about it. They do behave sometimes, but again, sometimes it's just too inviting not to give it a try. Maybe it's later in the race that we'll see it, but right now they're around the back part of the course, getting some heat into those tires, getting warmed up, kind of getting focused as to where they are, how to get lined up 2 by 2 as they come out onto the front straight for that green flag that we're anticipating. The excitement building. The drivers, though, want to remain calm, remain focused at the task at hand as they pair up coming out of the hairpin.
We expect a lot of the drivers in this second level of the Road to Indy, all of them running for a scholarship to go to Indy Lights competition. Folks, the 2022 Road to Indy season about to get ready to fire up. And again, it's Green on the inside, Ahmed on the outside. Looking good coming into the punch-off, and we are green, green, green. They'll run it down into turn number 1. We'll get that shot. Couple drivers going wide. Big outside run for Green, and he'll clear cleanly. Drivers looking good further back through that opening corner here. And this is where it gets tight as well, Todd. Coming through 2, 3, and over to turn number 4. Drivers playing nicely so far, but a great hole shot lead for Josh Green coming through turn number 1. Did not defend at all. Little lock up there further back. That might have been Reese Gold, I think, locking it up, diving to the inside. But the opening couple of corners, Todd, pretty clean.
Nice work by these Indy Pro 2000 drivers. Everybody giving each other a little bit of room heading into corner number 1. Those that did go up the inside did get the car slowed down properly. And you mentioned, we saw that was the trouble for Christian Brooks earlier, is that he had problems just after corner number 1 and got into the wall. But everybody seems to be getting through this first lap smoothly so far.
And again, we talked about the fact that 3 sets of tires. Did drivers go fresh tires? Did they go the tires from qualifying? Looks to me like everybody on the scuffs right now. Tomorrow morning when it's a little bit cooler, they're going to want more grip. So I think what we've got so far is a solid run for the drivers here on the opening circuit. Josh Green was out to the lead early, but now it's Anam Ahmed. What has happened to Josh Green? Ahmed has gone to P1, I believe. No, that's the lead for Green. I literally looked up, Todd, outside and not on the screen, and saw that was Ahmed. Green's 2 seconds down the road already.
That's amazing to pull out that kind of a lead on lap 1 of 25, but he's 2 seconds ahead of Ahmed.
So those of you who watched the start, essentially what Josh was able to do there, he got such a good jump. He didn't have to defend to the inside of turn 1 like so many drivers normally do. He took the full outside line. Everybody else in defense mode. Josh Green has a 2-second lead already over Anam Ahmed. So just early on, what will be a 25-lap race for drivers here at Indy Pro 2000. Again, the second rung of this Road to Indy. And I think we're going to see some fights rolling up here pretty quickly. It's to me like Jordan Missick may have got a spot there. Yeah, he's able to work his way, I think, up into the 14th position. And again, I'd said earlier, got to say it right, Shanahan, Illinois. Shanahan. We'll work on that to make sure it's perfect. Jordan Missick again running with Pabst Racing. Green coming out of turn number 12 cleanly. Nice lead there over Anam Ahmed. Louis Foster running in the 3rd spot. Braden Eves 4th. Nolan Siegel 5th. Prokacek 6th. Porto 7th. Gold 8th. Miller 9th. And Matt Garrido rounding out the top 10. So good opening stanza for the drivers here in Indy Pro 2000. Again, we all, I think in the Road to Indy paddock, Todd, hold our collective breaths when they come through turn number 1. It's a huge exhale when they get on, to the start the second lap because everybody's settled in. You're back to single file racing. It's when they're double file. It's the starts, the restarts where things get pretty dicey.
That's what everyone gets so focused on in corner number 1. But you forget that's just the first corner of 25 laps of the first race of the season, and there's a long way to go. So pace yourself accordingly. Interesting that Reese Gold has slipped back a couple of spots. We've seen Kiko Porto move up as well, and I didn't see if Reese was having any particular issues, but he has dropped back a little bit.
Yeah, I think sometimes that will happen. Again, we talked about the fact that Josh Green was able to get cleanly through. If you find yourself in the wrong spot, you get pinched up a little bit in turn 1, those opening couple of corners, sometimes it's better to get through here. And when we talked to Oliver Askew about that, he said straight up, you can't win your championship here, but you can certainly make it a lot tougher. You can find yourself trying to play catch-up for the remainder of the season. I think so many of these drivers, with the experience they have, some of these drivers may not have the experience here in the road to Indy, but a driver like Jonathan Brown, the guy's a former, Formula Ford Festival winner. That's, F1600 Formula Ford racing. He knows what wheel-to-wheel racing is all about. He can give and take some room. So a lot of the drivers here, I think, with the experience, whether it came from the road to Indy, they still have that racing experience a little bit older than the drivers in USF2000.
Wyatt Brychek now moving up, and Jack William Miller slipping back just a little bit. The lead for Josh Green has slipped down to below 2 seconds. So Inam Ahmed may now have just been starting to settle in, understand that there's a bit of a gap that he's got to close down. And that's what you need to do now, is just focus on hitting the marks at every corner, having a smart, smooth lap, going as quickly as you possibly can, and cut into that little by little. You're not going to do it all at once.
Exactly that. We got a scrap here a little further back. That, I think, is De Alba trying to get around Garrido. That would be, I believe, for the 10th position. So Salvador De Alba for Jay Howard Driver Development, trying to find a way by Matt Garrido, and indeed he gets the job done here at the start-finish. So move De Alba up a position. A big transition for Salvador De Alba. Here's a guy that has been a race winner for Jourdain Motorsports in the Mexican NASCAR program down south. A much lighter car, much more nimble race car, but he picked up that Indy Lights when he tested at Mid-Ohio with Andretti last year.
It's amazing how drivers that are talented understand what a race car does. It's the adaptability that you want to find too. Is okay, so I haven't driven open wheel racing cars yet, but once you get into it, once you start to get the feel, once you start to get comfortable, then the talent comes to the fore and understanding how to go quickly in that different kind of machine.
Josh Green's lead now down to 1.7 seconds. We'll keep a look at the lap times as they roll down here, as Ahmed trying to reel him in a bit. Louis Foster still having a good run in the exclusive Autosport number 90. He's not that far back either, only a second behind Ahmed. He only has a half a second to Braden Eves, who runs in 4th spot. Nolan Siegel in 5th, 6th Prokacek. And for me, I look at some of the rookies here that have come up from USF 2000 this year. Green P1, Siegel now in the 5th spot, Porto in 7th. I like seeing these young kids kind of step up here and really look strong within the top 10.
Lead continues to drop just a little bit, now under a second and a half for Inam Ahmed, who has closed up just a little bit on Josh Green, the rookie. And this is where the rookie gets experience as well, because now he understands there's a driver behind him who's running a little bit quicker. You don't want to become focused on the driver that's trying to chase you down. You still have to look forward. You still have to run your race and manage it that way.
The interesting thing is, as I look at lap times, Josh Green at a 1:10.4 last time by, he was actually slower than everybody back to Prokacek. He was a little slower than Ahmed, Foster, Eves, Siegel. When you have that rabbit in front of you, it's so much different than when you're the guy up front, especially once you haven't won in Indy Pro 2000. Man, his mind's got to be, I got this lead. No mistakes. Maybe I'll leave myself a little more room, where Ahmed's like, I'm up against the wall. I'm taking every bit of pavement that I can. For right now, for Green, I'm sure that Peter Dempsey's on the radio, or whoever's on the radio with him, saying, hey, listen, here's your gaps. You know the speed you have early in this race right now. Let's not burn the tires up. Got to maintain that gap again. Green goes down to a 1:10.2. Ahmed down to a 1:10.0. 1.3 seconds the gap. Green, I think, just kind of managing that gap right now.
And that's going to be the key in understanding that he's only 20% of the way through this race. Now he's still got to go hit the marks, run smooth and consistently. If you're a 10th slower, if you're a 10th quicker, that's okay. You don't want the big gap where you're 3 or 4 tenths on any given lap.
That's exactly it. And again, when you're the leader, you do kind of set the pace. Yeah, you can get reeled in, but there's a lot of times where a leader will pick a pace he wants to run, at least through the first half, and then maybe I'll dial things in. Again, as the car starts to burn off fuel, it's going to behave a little bit differently right now. So tires, of course, up to temperature now, the Cooper tires. So far, pretty clean racing. No one getting too hectic here. Watching the drivers there. Kiko Portal coming through. Reese Gold, Miller. There's De Alba. There's Matt Garrido, Colin Kaminsky, Euban Sunder-Murthy, Jordan Missig, and Jonathan Brown. Tough not to see Christian Brooks out there. Again, as I said before, of the 4 races he's run here in USF 2000, winning 3 of those events. And just that issue in qualifying today. And it's just, Todd, a minor miscue. Coming through, and he was top 4, actually top 5 at one point. It slipped down a little further, but tapped that wall in turn number 2. It sent him into turn number 3. Really bad damage to that machine. He's out of the race. That's going to open up things for everybody else in the championship battle.
That's very frustrating for Christian Brooks. And what he can't do, though, is worry about it past this weekend. It's over. It's done. He has to look forward now to the rest of the season. This is what's going to happen here in St. Pete, is we won't see him, but he now has to focus on the rest of the season. Green, Ahmed, Foster, Eves, and Siegel continue to be the top 5 here after 8 laps of 25.
So now what we'll watch for with Josh Green is what kind of consistency does he have in his lap time. That was back-to-back 110.20s. Ahmed, who did a flat, went back to a 110.3. Is he pushing hard early? Is he beating up on these Coopers a little bit? Is Green more settled in? Can he run a consistent lap time? Still, Foster and Eves quicker than the leaders. In fact, look at Siegel. He did a 110.0 last time by Siegel, cranking down a lap from P5, tightening things up. 1.2 seconds back of Eves. Only 4 seconds separate the top 5 drivers.
And 3 of the top 5 are rookies, which is also fun to watch in this early going. These rookies having some success.
Nolan Siegel now closing up there on Braden Eves as well, trying to find his way by. So Eves up to Foster. Siegel was, Siegel lost about 0.3 last time by. You can see that Eves there in the number 4 was starting to put the pressure on Foster right there, coming through turn number 4. Braden Eves putting the pressure on, and in walking around with the Cape Motorsports crew during the track walk, it's one of the things that Dominic Cape was saying to the young drivers: when you get to somebody, you have to force that mistake. You pressure them. In turn 12, you try different lines. You look inside, you look outside, because once they've made one mistake, you're in their head. They're going to make another one. You keep pushing them till they make a mistake that's at least big enough that you can capitalize. That's what Braden Eves is trying to do.
It's a little bit like we talked about a moment ago, where you want that driver focusing on you. You don't want him looking ahead, running his lines, going through the corner. You want to get his attention. That's why you'll see drivers slide over to the left or to the right as they enter a corner. Get right up underneath and make them pay attention to you behind them.
You want their head on a swivel. You want them looking in each mirror, right? Each mirror. Oh, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Always putting the pressure on. I will say this. Ahmed back down to a 110.1. The gap between first and second is 1.3 seconds now, but that is 4 consecutive 110.2 second laps for Josh Green. If you're Peter Dempsey at Turn 3 Motorsports, that's all you can ask for out of your driver. Consistency, put the lap times down. That's why this is such a great battle here. This is fantastic up front as both these drivers, Green and Ahmed, trying to start off the season in style. Oh, little wiggle coming out of turn number 8 there. That's one of the things about this racetrack as well, and we don't really bring it up a lot. These are city streets. There is a crown in the road that allows, when rain does come, that it takes the water off the road. When the drivers come over, they will cross over that crown, putting the power down. You'll see the rear end. It wants to fall away. The crown makes the rear end want to go away on them, and that's when the driver has to be really, really quick on the hands.
You're just watching that last shot, the undulation in the road. You could see it there, drifting from one side to the other. And again, here's another key part of this circuit, is getting through this hairpin and getting out onto corner 1. That can make or break your lap. If you come through exactly as you want, tight into that corner, and then drift out to that wall as close as you can, you'll generate maximum speed down to corner 1.
And one of the keys is getting in that brake pressure, getting it to release, and then getting back on the throttle. But you have to be precise on rolling back on the throttle. You get back to the throttle too early, you get that, mid-corner oversteer where the car wants to push away. Then you got to get back off the throttle a little bit. It's about getting the car to rotate, get back on the throttle, and maybe it's a trail braking potentially to get that car to rotate so you're back on the throttle and coming out of that corner cleanly. A very, very challenging part of the racetrack, which is really just a hairpin. Every one of these drivers has driven hairpins their entire life. This one's a really tough one.
11 laps in, it is Green, Ahmed, Foster, Eves, and Siegel continuing to be the top 5. The gap is just under 1.5 seconds from Green back to Ahmed. Green picked up just ever so slightly on that last lap, a 110.1, now a 110.2 to follow it up, just exactly what you want him to do.
Amazing consistency right now to Josh Green. Mount Kisco, New York, sponsored by Session Guardian and Zimperium. I talked to Josh in the offseason a little bit about testing and how he liked the car. We had our Road to Indy E-Series on iRacing as well, and he did extremely well there. And he said, I just really feel good driving this car. A couple of years in USF2000, but when you give a driver more of everything, they're always going to be happy. It's more horsepower, more downforce, more tires, more braking. This car, much more aerodynamic, sensitive, and you use the aero a lot more than you would the USF2000 car.
I don't know of a driver who would say no if you said, would you like more horsepower? Would you like more aerodynamics? I think that's just, sure, just give it to me. I'll
They're
take whatever
greedy.
I can.
They're also greedy. They always want more of everything. That's what I love about this road to Indy, because literally come up with the road to Indy, every step they go, we just keep giving them more of everything.
And that's it, but that's the learning process as well. As you enter in the aerodynamics, the tires and brakes and everything is a little bit different. Then you increase the horsepower, but then you give them more tools to handle it with bigger tires, with more brake power and more aerodynamics to deal with.
Fastest lap we've seen so far, actually Wyatt Prokachik a 109.9 as well. Louis Foster a 109.9, so both those drivers pretty quick. Green holding that 1.3 second advantage. This is textbook right now, just past the halfway point of this Anderson Interior Contracting Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, the first of 2 races for Indy Pro. They'll be back on track early tomorrow morning for that event when they get going once again. 8 o'clock start time for race number 2 for the drivers here in Indy Pro. Field kind of settling as we often do. Now to see who has the speed to start closing up. Foster just laid down a 109.9, about 0.2 quicker than Ahmed, but he's 1.1 back right now. For Foster, he's going to have to find that speed. He's got to have the consistency to start eating into that lead that Ahmed has already developed.
And this is where drivers will start to feel a difference in the car as well. As we're just past the midway point, you talked about the fuel burning off. Car gets a little bit lighter, it's going to behave a little differently, it's going to handle differently, it's going to feel a little bit differently going into each of the corners. How do the drivers adapt to that? Do they adjust their braking accordingly? Does it give them an opportunity to move up a little closer and maybe make a pass?
We're seeing a yellow flag here in the screen. That's coming out of turn number 9. I believe that it's Wyatt Prokachik potentially. Prokachik may have gone off the racetrack into the escape route of turn number 10. So again, we have Wyatt Prokachik falling down the order. That is going to move Kiko Porto up into 6th, Reese Gold into 7th, Jack William Miller up into 8th, De Alba 9th, and Matt Round-Garrido back up into the top 10. So Prokachik back out, looks like he potentially back onto the racetrack just outside the top 10, probably about 13th. So maybe off into that area, that runoff, get the car wound up and turn back around, back out onto the racetrack.
That will hurt him in terms of time and position, but good that he got going. Just a local yellow to allow him to get turned around and get back out on course once there was an opening. But yes, lost an awful lot of ground, but we stayed green the rest of the way.
Yeah, and for Wyatt, he'll be disappointed putting in such, he had such a good run going there. Again, he had the fast lap of the race here in lap number 12. So he was pushing, right? He was trying to get back up there. He was trying to get after Nolan Siegel, trying to dig in there for the guys from Jay Howard Driver Development, but he has showed good pace, and I expect he'll be very strong tomorrow as well. Interesting, looking at some of the times, I don't see anybody as of yet who's been able to go faster here in the second race lap. One thing we talked about in qualifying was fastest lap in qualifying set the grid for race 1. Your fastest lap or your fastest race lap of race 1 for race number 2. No one going any quicker right now than they did, I believe. Actually, no, let's do this. Prokachik, a 110.1, his fast lap did a 109.9. That could potentially move Prokachik. That may move him up into the top 5. He could move up a couple of spots for Prokachik because of the speed he laid down here. So, yeah, well done for Wyatt. Fantastic.
Ahmed continues to try to put a little pressure on Josh Green, but Green has just gone under the 110 on that last lap. So 15 laps done, it's still a 1.3, 1.4 second gap back to second place. Foster, Eves, and Siegel round out the top 5 with 15 done.
Yeah, let's drop a little kudos to Peter Dempsey, who engineers his crew over there. That car has got better and better and better. He was doing 3s, 110 3s, then a bunch of 2s, then a 1, then a flat. Got down to a 109.9, and that gap is still 1.1 seconds. Even though Ahmed is coming, that car is capable of getting into the 109. So, Josh, time to dial things in. You got to step it up. 9 laps to go, 1.1 seconds to lead.
That's part of the learning process as well, and undoubtedly Peter Dempsey will be communicating with his driver. I understand the car's going to be fine the entire way. It may even get a little better.
Here comes Jonathan Brown into pit lane. Here's what I would say for Brown potentially. They may put fresh rubber for Jonathan Brown. He qualified 15th. Let's throw some fresh rubber on, get him back onto the racetrack. He'll be able to maybe turn a flyer with those fresh tires, move himself up the order. So again, Green leading last time by Watching the midfield scrap here right now as the drivers working their way over to turn number 8 and 9, the double apex right-hander. That is Yuvan Sundaramurthy getting challenged here by Colin Kaminsky. Those drivers have run together for several years. Kaminsky and Sundaramurthy were teammates with Hunter McElroy and Bruno Tomaselli in USF2000 a couple of years ago. Of course, McElroy moving up to Indy Lights this year with Andretti Autosport. Sundaramurthy and Kaminsky both here alongside Jordan Missing in Indy Pro 2000. It's a back-to-back Road to Indy feature for you here midway through the day on Friday. Todd, as we have USF 2000 drivers, we'll start seeing them roll their way down into the paddock, into the mock grid pretty soon as well.
Nice job by Thomas DeVoe to score the pole position with a real late flyer. Just got in under the wire, but he will start on the pole for the USF 2000 race that comes up right after this one. Right now, though, it remains Josh Green up front, but look at that lead, has almost carved in half.
Well, so here's the thing. Green's still consistent, running 110s, 110-1s, 110-2s, maybe a flat here or there. But Anam Ahmed is dialing things in, a 110.784. Ahmed now to within less than 0.8 of a second. Laps are most definitely winding down. 8 laps remaining when they get back around here. But we do see a bit of a challenge potentially coming. And again, it's how close can Ahmed get and start using that draft down the straightaway, right? He hasn't been able to use that yet. It's still significant right now, maybe a little bit of a draft, but not quite enough. He'll need to get to within maybe, 6-7 of a second to be able to fully leverage that draft. This time, Green does another flat. Ahmed back to a 110.3. You have to be consistent. Man, Ahmed was down to some pretty good lap times. Fast lap of 109.7. He just went a half a second slower on that last lap.
And that's what will frustrate you and frustrate everyone as you're trying to get closer. If you had done 5 laps, a 10th better, you're a half second closer. That's the way to approach it. It's just you can try to get it all back at once, but it is so difficult to the point of impossible as we see a car coming down pit lane.
Yeah, Yuvan Sundaramurthy down pit lane as well, was running in the 11th position. Wonder whether or not it's an issue for Sundaramurthy mechanically or whether he's going to elect to try to put fresh rubber on as well. The idea is to see if you can't put the fresh rubber on. It's a lot warmer out here than it was this morning. Maybe you're able to put that flyer lap down on fresh rubber, because remember, the entire field going out on their tires they used in qualifying, those used tires. So put the fresh rubber on, maybe make a minor adjustment, get out there, try to get a flyer. You have open racetrack. See if you can't put down a lap. There's still lots of time left. These guys can get 2, 3, 4 laps in with fresh rubber. We'll keep an eye on those guys' lap times.
Just enough time to get out, get the tires warmed up to optimum temperature, and maybe improve your qualifying position for race number 2 that will come up tomorrow morning. First thing tomorrow morning for the Indy Pro 2000 Series, they will go green right at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
We'll, of course, get started a little early on Road to Indy TV with the pre-show. Steve Whittick from Trackside Online will be joining me. Oh, yeah. Everybody from the tail of the field's coming in, like we might as well. Brkachik's coming in, Jordan Missing's coming in. So everybody at the tail of the field diving in right now to potentially, I assume, put on fresh rubber. So, well, essentially we got round number 1 of the race and a qualifying session broke out. so we've got at least 4 drivers from the tail of the field have elected to are going to put fresh rubber on and going to try to out-qualify things. And if this works, this could shake up things for race number 2, most definitely.
This also part of the learning process that we talked about early this morning during the qualifying for the Road to Indy drivers. 3 sets of fresh tires for this weekend, so it's about managing the tires, 4 on-track sessions with qualifying and the races. So now how do you manage those tires and use them to your advantage for the race?
With the uniqueness of the schedule, only having the 1 qualifying session, it makes it a bit easier, right? Because they had a carryover set from our spring training test at Homestead last week. So they brought a used set for practice. So 3 sessions, 3 fresh sets. Everybody used 2 sets in qualifying. There's at least 1 fresh set sitting there on pit lane. Who is going to use it? Another driver in the pit lane right now, that's Kaminsky. So he's decided to come in as well. So everybody outside the top 10, Kaminsky, Brkachik, Missing, Sundaramurthy, and Brown have all come in. So to be honest, they've all canceled each other out. So nobody's really going to gain anything in terms of where they are on the racetrack, because nobody really cares about 11th place on back in points. It'd be better to try to get one of those high points tomorrow, starting more up front, because even though this track, there are passing opportunities, the better you start, you just raise your chances of finishing well so much. It is tough to pass on any street circuit, whether it's here, Long Beach, Toronto, whatever it may be. It's tough to pass.
Just watching Kiko Porto and Reese Gold battling through the back part of the course. Reese Gold trying to push. You can see that 55 car sliding just a little bit around some of the corners. 20 laps down now, and it's Josh Green still up front. The lead down to under a full second between he and Inam Ahmed, but Ahmed with a good lap, but can he back it up now is the question.
And that's it, right? And Josh Green's handled things so far. It all depends on whether he can stay focused for these last 5 laps to get the job done. I'll say this, let's just put this out here. Top time in qualifying, a 109.6. You're going to have to get a 109.6, I think, to find yourself up on the front row for these drivers who are going out to qualify. We're going to keep our eyes on Missing, Prokachik, Brown, Sunder-Amurthy, Kaminsky, all in for fresh rubber, all roll them back out of the racetrack. See what kind of lap times they can drop in. A 110.8 on the brand new tires for Sunder-Amurthy. This could be interesting. Good battle on the racetrack right now between Kiko Porto and Reese Gold. That's what we're picking up. Right behind them, Jack William Miller. So yeah, there's the number 1 at Kiko Porto, the USF2000 champion from last year, running the Road to Indy Scholarship colors. Yeah, that's a good fight. That is for 6th and 7th and 8th. So Reese Gold, second-year driver in the Juncos Hollinger Racing Machine, putting a lot of pressure on the rookie. Leaders back across the line once again. You can see them coming out of turn number 12. The gap down to less than 7/10 of a second. Ahmed chipping out about 2/10 of a second at a time. Are we going to see a battle right at the very end here, Todd?
We have seen that in the past here in Indy Pro 2000, USF 2000, all the levels of the Road to Indy. Sometimes the gap stretches out a little bit during the middle of the race, but then it tightens up as we're watching.
Yeah, it's maybe 4 car lengths right now. Inam Ahmed, fastest driver on the racetrack, laid in a 109.9, as did Eves, as did Siegel, but we may find ourselves with a challenge. And look at Foster's not that far back either. You wonder what's going on with Josh Green. Still, he's been very consistent, 110.1s. He just hasn't got down into the 109s and been able to stay there. We know he's got at least one 109. He did that back on lap 14. But right now, he has got his hands full. One of these, hey, any of the top 3 have never won in Indy Pro 2000. The only guy in the top 3 that's even won on the Road to Indy is Josh Green. So one of these drivers is going to get their first Indy Pro 2000 race win. Lap 23 going in the books as they come across the line. Josh Green. They get 22 in the books. Yeah, 22, 3 laps to go. 3 laps to go for Green. Identical lap times. Now this is the thing. Now, when Ahmed gets there, now he's got to deal with losing that air over the front wing. You get that little bit of aero wash, that aero push when you're trying to roll into a corner. You just don't have that air coming to the front wing. It doesn't want to turn in like it used to. It's a little bit of that, entry understeer, push. Oh, what a tremendous race we have so far.
This is what you want to see up near the front of the field. The 2 front runners, less than a second apart, less than 7/10 of a second apart. 3 laps to go, headed for the checkers. One of them potentially picking up their first victory.
Prokachik down to a 109.9 as well, so that's going to move him up potentially into the top 6, top 5. So Prokachik trying to take advantage of this second essentially qualifying run on sticker tires, but we've got ourselves a tremendous lead. There they are coming out of turn number 12. Foster not that far back, Louis Foster. And here's the big run down the straightaway once again. Ahmed about a 10th quicker than Green. The thing is, will he throw it to the inside of turn number 1? 2 laps remaining. About 2.5, 3 car lengths for Josh Green. A Mount Kisco, New York driver looking to start his Indy Pro 2000 career with a victory here in St. Petersburg. Todd, you can't speak enough about how this would build confidence and momentum for Josh Green starting the season.
No question. To come out and post a quick time in qualifying, then take it wire to wire and score that first victory, that would be a huge boost to a driver in this rookie season here in the Indy Pro 2000 series. But he is getting challenged on this final couple of laps by Inam Ahmed, who is creeping ever closer.
And on the Pakistani driver with, I think, more top-level experience than a Josh Green. He's run British F3, a former British F3 champion. He's won FIA F3. Loves it over here in the U.S. And is thrilled to be here for a full season with Juncos Hollinger. He's looking to try to pay them off as well with a win to start the season. They'll work their way to turn number 12. White flag flying this time by. 1 lap to go. Nolan Siegel just laid down a 109.5 from P5. That's going to move him to the pole position for race number 1. Siegel on used tires, a 109.5. Final lap on the racetrack right now. Josh Green trying to hold off Anam Ahmed. Will he get his first Indy Pro 2000 win in the debut? They'll go to turn 4. Really only one more passing opportunity left, although you can pressure in the hairpin. Anam Ahmed going to try to throw everything at him, but again, do you risk it? You take the second spot, start the season clean, or do you toss it in there? Is it bend it or win it for Anam Ahmed? This is the final opportunity. They'll come through the kink over to turn number 10 now. That's a heartbreaking left-hander. Green's got to get through cleanly. At least 2 car lengths for Josh Green. The turn 3 motorsport driver just has to get through cleanly in the hairpin turn number 12. You've done it already 24 times. Roll the center. Get back on the throttle. A little wide on the entry. But indeed, out cleanly, the winner of the opening round of the Indy Pro 2000 Championship, Josh Green. Victorious. On the streets of St. Petersburg, he wins the Anderson Interior Contracting Grand Prix of St. Petersburg Turn 3 Motorsports. That team is going to be over the moon with a victory for Josh Green. They will be absolutely jacked with that for sure. Jonathan Brown getting the laps he needs to be able to pick up his game and be right in the fight as well. We will throw this out there, both Siegel and Brkachik, I believe, going faster. So Siegel, though, that could be the pole time for Siegel, improving on his qualifying run here in the race. But, man, that was Green versus Ahmed. Louis Foster in there. What a great way to start the season.
How's that for 25 laps of action to open the season here on the streets of St. Petersburg?
I got a little shake going on. I'm shaking a bit.
It's understandable.
Wow.
It's been a long time in coming. You had the test session at Homestead a while back, and now everybody is into action, and it's time to go here. And we get to do this one more time tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and we got, of course, USF2000 coming up as well. The drivers are working their way around the track back into the pit lane. I'll let you handle a recap, Todd, of the results. I'll head down to victory lane. You can throw it down to me. We got some celebrating to do today.
Understandably so. And yes, Josh Green is going to be there to accept the trophy and accept the celebrations right up on the top step, scoring his first win in the Indy Pro 2000 series. First win of the season, just about as perfect a race as you could get. Qualifies on the pole and then leads wire to wire, scoring a victory in race number 1. Josh Green pressured as much as he could, but Inam Ahmed comes up a little bit short, finishes 0.6 of a second behind Josh Green, but a very solid run for the Pakistani driver as well. Inam Ahmed with a second place finish. And Louis Foster in the number 90 car, a nice solid run. Again, finishes a little bit further back, moved up, had some good laps, had some solid laps, but was unable to really challenge with those front 2. Josh Green got such a great start, gave himself a better than 2-second gap at the beginning. Ahmed was able to claw into it a little bit, but it was really Josh Green's race from start to finish. He managed it beautifully. Louis Foster rounds out the podium. Braden Eves with a solid run with a 4th place finish in that 4th place car. And then Nolan Siegel, who was very quick in practice, comes home with a top 5 finish as well. Kiko Porto, the USF2000 champion, comes home with a 6th place result. He moves up from 7th place at the start of this race, picking up 1 position. And then Reese Gold, who fell back a little bit. We watched a good battle between Kiko Porto and Reese Gold in the latter stages of that race. Porto able to hold on to the 6th position ahead of Reese Gold. Jack William Miller in the number 40 car comes home 8th. Salvatore Di Alba is 9th. And Matt Garrido rounds out the top 10 in the Indy Pro 2000 race here on the streets of St. Petersburg. Yuvan Sundramurthy is the 11th. Jordan Missig, Wyatt Brkachik, who posted a very quick time late in the race, a 109.6. He and Nolan Siegel really improved their times from their qualifying this morning and will benefit in race number 2 tomorrow. Colin Kaminsky and Jonathan Brown round out the 15 competitors who took the green. There was a 16th car who, in qualifying this morning with Christian Brooks, who had damage sustained so seriously to the car it was unrepairable for this weekend. Christian Brooks is fine, climbed out of the car. He is fine, but very disappointed, of course, that he will not be able to participate this weekend. The USF2000 race winner here, and 3 of his 4 events run, will not participate this winter. But the celebrations are for Josh Green, Inam Ahmed, and then Louis Foster, who comes home with the top 3 positions here on the streets of St. Petersburg. A terrific race for our first race of the weekend here on the streets of St. Petersburg. The Indy Pro 2000, USF2000 will be coming up shortly. We'll have post-race ceremonies. Rob Howden is on his way down to greet the top 3 finishers in the Indy Pro 2000. The USF2000 will roll out in just a little bit with their race. It is Thomas Neveu from Oka, Quebec, who will start on the pole position for that. And then lots more action as we continue through the afternoon as well, with Indy Lights returning for their qualifying session. SRO GT America will have their qualifying session this morning, and will race this afternoon. And the NTT IndyCar Series coming up later on this afternoon as well. MX5 Cup with race number 1. And Indy Lights will close out our Friday action here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding, with their final practice on Friday. Thank you for joining us here on this Fast Friday. Beautiful, perfect weather conditions, and we're expecting that right through the weekend as well. We want to remind you to make extra time to get here through the weekend, especially on Sunday, with pre-race ceremonies beginning for the NTT IndyCar Series event at 11:40 in the morning. The green flag will come just a little bit later, but make sure that you are on your way and in the grounds early on Sunday morning, as things will get started with pre-race ceremonies at 11:40 a.m. NTT IndyCar Series will come up later on this afternoon. Our race number 2 here today is coming up shortly. The USF2000 Series, as mentioned, is Thomas Neveu, who will be on the pole position, and then lots of action through the afternoon. Don't forget as well, tomorrow there is the party in the park, the IndyCar Party in the Park at North Straub Park from 4 to 6 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. After the action is done here on the streets with the racing, everyone shifts over to North Straub Park with the IndyCar Party in the Park. Drivers will be in attendance. The USF2000 autograph session will take place. Music, games, lots of special guests, lots to do in downtown St. Pete. Make sure you grab a bite to eat and enjoy all that downtown has to offer. And there will be fireworks tomorrow night as well, a fireworks display. Not the kind of fireworks that we are having on the track and expect to see on this track right through the rest of the weekend. You can view the free digital Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg presented by RP Funding program and get your hands on the event map, the schedule, the entry list, and much more at program.gpstpete.com. Make sure that you're following on social media as well. Make sure you are following at GP St. Pete on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook. We've seen some fantastic posts already today here on the social media channels, and use the hashtag FirestoneGP as well for posting those pictures. And there is a great picture place at the Firestone race wall to get those photos and videos all weekend long. We're just waiting for our top 3 finishers of Green, Ahmed, and Foster to make their way to the podium. Undoubtedly, they are celebrating with their teams along the way. But our first race in the book, and Josh Green goes wire to wire, starting on pole, building up the lead, and then picking up the victory ahead of Inam Ahmed, who also ran a very strong race, but it was the consistency of Green that really seemed to take over, running those laps at 1:10.1, 1:10.2, 1:10.3, and came away the victor. Let's join Rob Howden at the victory podium for the celebrations.
Todd, thank you so much. Great to be down here right now. Don't think we have any audio. Ready to go? Just getting the audio. There we go. We're live down here again at our victory lane, and get ready to get things underway with our first podium of what will be many here in 2022, starting the season off with Indy Pro 2000, the second rung of the road to Indy. These are the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. This driver, his first race in the road to Indy, gets it on the podium for Exclusive Autosports. A round of applause for Louis Foster. Presenting our trophies, one of our guests from Anderson Interior Contracting, Frank Schreck. 83. Frank's going to handle the awards presentations, bring out the hardware here, and again, watch for Foster throughout this year. This is going to be exciting for Exclusive Autosport. Finishing in second today for Hunko's Hollinger Racing, Inam Ahmed. If you look at the results as well, 5 different teams represented in the top 5. Frank, come on in with that trophy. Yeah, 5 different teams in the top 5. Good to see you, Inam. And folks, this driver's won before in USF2000, but this is his first win here in Indy Pro, his debut race to win. I want a huge round of applause. The winner round of applause. The winner today, ladies and gentlemen, for Turn 3 Motorsport, Josh Green. Stay down here with me, Josh. Don't be jumping up on me yet. I'll tell you, dreamt about this, knowing that you were moving here, to be able to come in here, run so well, a consistent race. You're a winner already.
Yeah, I just have to thank Turn 3. I mean, it was definitely a dream coming into it. We had some really good testing, and I was super happy with where I was in the car. I've taken a big step forward mentally throughout the process, but I mean, Turn 3 has just done such an awesome job over the preseason to get us, where we are today.
You qualified on the pole position. How early in that race did you know that you were going to have the pace you thought to be able to get away? A great start as well.
Yeah, the start was really the pinnacle. Once I got a big start, I just kind of managed the rear tires up until then, didn't take any risks because the street circuit being a street circuit. Waited for Nam to get up there, and then once he was there, I sort of had to think about where I could push and where I could, manage that gap.
Takes a lot of partners, a lot of supporters to be able to do this. Who do you want to thank today?
Zimperium, Session Guardian, Lionfish.
Get up on top of the podium. He's the winner today, Josh Green. Mr. Dan Anderson going to help me out here from Anderson Promotions. This is the man that puts this road to Indy on. We couldn't do any of this without Dan Anderson, and he is going to come up and deliver this trophy to Josh Green. What a way to start off the season for Josh Green. And look at this podium, folks. This is Turn 3 Motorsport, Juncos, Hollinger, and Exclusive Autosport all on the podium. All the top 5 drivers. You throw Nolan Siegel in there as well, and Reese Gold from D-Force and Juncos. And, man, just some impressive racing for the drivers up top. We'll get the drivers do the hat dance here. Step down in front. We'll line things up. These drivers do have to race again, of course, tomorrow morning. So when the champagne does fly, I doubt that it will be on the suits. But wow, we've got ourselves so much talent in this category. I talked to Todd Lewis up in the booth, and I said we have a possibility of 6, 7 different winners this year, maybe more. Number of drivers rolling the dice in that race as well, coming in to put fresh rubber on. I think that Nolan Siegel, even without the fresh rubber, may have grabbed a lap time to put him on himself on the pole in the D-Force entry. Frank Skreck and Dan Anderson coming to join us here. Of course, Frank from Anderson Interior Contracting. Got a lot of great guests involved with us here this weekend as part of this Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, and great to have all the Anderson crew here. Always fun to start off the season in the Florida sun. Beautiful here. Of course, those of you maybe up a little more north. Of course, the Anderson Interior Contracting based up in New Jersey. It's a little cooler up there. Nice down here in Florida. Beautiful day so far. We'll take the opportunity to give a shout out as well to Turn 3 Motorsports. Peter and Mandy Dempsey getting the victory to start off the season. Great family team here in this road to Indy. And again, just starting the season off right. I expect even more aggressive racing. Here comes the champagne up here from the good folks from the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Again, like I said, they got to wear these suits again tomorrow, unless they want sticky suits, stinky suits. I think we're good, boys. Do what you want to do. Tap it, spray it, whatever your game is, get her done. Nam's like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
You need hard-working tires for a hard-earned victory. Firestone Tires.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Your SUV is a multi-purpose tool, like a corkscrew fish scaler. And that means your tires should be multi-purpose too. Like these Cooper rugged Treks. They're tough, but also run smooth as butter. And with dual sidewalls, it's like having a multi-tool that can look like a completely different multi-tool. Don't take that idea, by the way. I'm gonna patent it. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day.
Ring Power has the equipment you need when you need it, daily, weekly, or monthly. To rent, visit catrentalstore.com.
Karting and motorsport enthusiasts, Lucas Oil School of Racing is America's #1 Formula Car race school. Enjoy modern paddle shifters, pit speed limiter, and onboard video along with integrated data systems. Get started today with our 2-day basic or advanced course. Lucas Oil School of Racing is the official school of the road to Indy. We can also qualify you for your SCCA license. Get started today by visiting us at www.lucasraceschool.com.
It's your Uncle Cooper. Sure, once in a blue moon, you might need your tires for hauling a horse in a hailstorm. But most days, you're gonna need your tires for tougher things, like teaching your sister's kid how to parallel park. Thankfully, these Cooper Enduramaxes aren't just tough, they're everyday tough. Okay, there's a lot of improvement. Go with the Coopers. Cooper!
With over 40 years in business, High Tide Boat Lifts is committed to elevating your craft. Whether you own a personal watercraft or a large yacht, we can design and create the perfect lift for your needs. At High Tide Boat Lifts, we understand that you've worked hard to get to a successful place in life. We'll ensure you have a hassle-free experience, maximizing the time you spend on your boat with family and friends, and supporting your dreams out on the open water.
It's your Uncle Cooper. If you and your truck are constantly tackling the regular duties of the day, go with a tire that can handle them all. Oh, man. I stepped in it. Go with the Coopers.
Growing your business isn't just one thing, it's a million little things. Should you lease, rent, or own? How fast can you get that part? Does it fit the budget? That's what your local Cat dealer is here for. With expert advice, flexible financing, and industry-leading equipment, you can get the job done, day after day.
Ring Power has the equipment you need when you need it, daily, weekly, or monthly. To rent, visit catrentalstore.com.
here at the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, presented by RP Funding. He'll try and make it 2 in a row this Sunday. Don't forget, get here early on Sunday. The pre-race festivities for the IndyCar Series begin at 11:40 a.m. There is so much happening this weekend. It is a jam-packed weekend. Coming up momentarily, the USF2000 race number 1 of the weekend. The NTT IndyCar Series cars will be out later on this afternoon for their practice session, and also the SRO GT America autograph session is happening right now out front of the Mahaffey Theater. The GT America autograph session happening right now out in front of the theater. Come and meet all the drivers from GT Americas. Explore the Vinoy Renaissance St. Petersburg Resort and Golf Club. Sail Tampa Bay from our private marina. Tee off on the Ron Garl Design Championship Golf Course. Savor fresh seafood and smokehouse favorites at Paul's Landing. Or practice your swing on one of 10 tennis courts. Retreat to this resort's spacious rooms that blend historic charm with a rich past. Showcasing elegant surroundings, flawless service, innovative restaurants, and 55,000 square feet of flexible meeting space with convenient access to an array of the city's most popular attractions and dining. You'll experience a historic Florida resort unlike any other. O'Reilly Auto Parts is the ultimate one-stop shop for all your automotive supplies. Everything for your vehicle in one convenient place. That's O'Reilly Auto Parts. Discover your rhythm at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, Tampa. Play your instrument of choice with the hottest slots and table games. Live in pure harmony with rooms and suites designed for rock royalty. Relax and rejuvenate at the luxurious Rock Spa and Salon. Experience a unique blend of dining options at their award-winning restaurants, Council Oak, the Res Grill, and Suppresso. Add amp to your evening with their exciting concert lineup. Discover your rhythm at Tampa's premier resort destination, Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Tampa.
Guys didn't do much champagne at all. So, ladies and gentlemen, firing things back up right now as the drivers here at USF2000 pulling off the grid. We'll go from the tail of the field, one lap around. Let's get through it quickly here. Victor Anderson starting in the 19th position for Velocity Racing Development. Row number 9 will have Yoru Lee in the number 7 for Jay Howard Driver Development, and Jorge Garcias in the number 9. Row number 8 will have Nikki Hayes for Cape Motorsports in the number 5 starting 16th. Inside of that row, Frederick Lund in the number 6. Lund for Jay Howard Driver Development. Moving to row number 7 on the outside, Jackson Lee for Cape Motorsports, driver out of Avon, Indiana. And on the inside, all the way from New Zealand, his first race here in USF2000, Jacob Douglas for Exclusive Autosport in the number 90. Row number 6 will have Christian Weir on the outside in the turn 3 Motorsport number 32. Inside for D-Force Racing, Dylan Christie in the number 11. We'll work our way into the top 10. Spike Kolbecker, one of the top rookies last year, in the number 33 for Turn 3 Motorsport. He'll start 10th alongside Trey Burke for Joe Dueling Autosport. Very impressive run here for Trey Burke in the number 63. Row 4, Simon Sykes on the outside in the number 19 for Legacy Autosport. Inside, Michael D'Orlando for Cape Motorsports, last year's runner-up in the number 4. Row 3, out of New Zealand, Billy Fraser, second year in the series for Exclusive Autosport, number 92, firing things up from the outside of row 3. Did not get only one practice lap, and then was able to get a couple more in qualifying. He's going to put himself out here in 6th position. Alongside him, Jagger Jones in that number 3 for Cape Motorsports. Third-generation driver, Jagger Jones. Row 2 will have Miles Rowe for Pabst Racing in the 22 on the outside, a winner last year in New Jersey. Inside, Bajoy Garg, his best starting spot here on the road to Indy in USF2000. Garg for D-Force Racing in the number 12. 19 drivers in the field, 2 on the front row. Off pole, Jace Denmark for Pabst Racing, the 22 out of Scottsdale, Arizona. The 23 actually for Denmark, for the driver putting it on the pole here today. Out of Oka, Quebec, Canada, that's Thomas Neveu in the number 10. Firing things up for D-Force Racing. Field set. We're about to go racing here, folks. The drivers are in position. It'll be the first to punch off will be Neveu. He's waiting to get on the throttle, and he does. Green, 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 and a massive start for Thomas Neveu. He goes out at least 2 to 3 car length. Looks to me like he caught Jace Denmark napping a little bit there into the position. They'll work their way through turn 1. Cross your fingers if they get through cleanly. Looking good so far. Drivers in position. They got to get through 2 and 3. Very tight quarters. It gets very tight coming through there. As you can see here, the concrete canyon, we call it here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. They'll span out a little bit wider coming down into 4. A couple drivers trying to get to the inside. 4, 5, and 6, very tight as well. This opening lap, if they can get through cleanly, we should be good to go. Drivers doing a tremendous job so far. Over to the back part of the racetrack, turns 8 and 9. One driver a little wiggle in the back there. That might have been Jones. But everybody in position. Look at these guys fighting. Simon Sykes trying to work his way up a couple of spots. Sykes aggressive on the opening circuit. Out front, though, Neveu with the lead. Thomas Neveu, a fantastic start to get himself into the lead. A winner last year at Road America as a rookie. He is a sophomore here this year and has full intentions on challenging for the championship. One of the top young karters in the country as well. And he is dialing things in. Opening corner through turn number 12, and we are underway. We'll give you a full field rundown when they come back across the line. Thomas Neveu, your leader. Jace Denmark second. Billy Fraser up into third. Bajoy Garg runs 4th. Miles Rowe 5th. Simon Sykes in 6th. Michael D'Orlando 7th. A couple spots up for D'Orlando. Jagger Jones in 8th. Spike Kohlbecker in the 9th spot. 10th is Burke. 11th is Christie. 12th Weir. 13th is Douglas. What a good start for Jacob Douglas. Getting himself into position here. Nicky Hayes up a spot, and it's Frederick Lund, Euro Lee, Victor Anderson, Jackson Lee, and Jorge Garcia. Todd,
can I exhale now? Yeah. So that was a great, fantastic start. Great job by these USF2000 drivers. We talked about corner 1 with the Indy Pro Series. Everybody got through smoothly, and we saw it again here through the first few corners. A terrific start by Thomas Neveu, who accelerated away at just the right moment as the green flag was displayed and caught Jace Denmark. Not napping, but it was just, it was a great move by Thomas Neveu as opposed to a bad move by Denmark.
That's it, really. It looked like he caught him napping because he was rolled up, punched off, and it was just really a textbook start for Thomas Neveu.
Denmark, of course, has closed back up. It is a very tight battle up towards the front of the field, just under 4/10 of a second between first and second place. So second back to the third place position of Fraser. But this is what we expect to see. Now that everyone has settled in for a lap or two, we'll see battles throughout the field, as we did in the Indy Pro Series as well, through 4th, 5th, and 6th, through 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. We have close battles and fighting throughout this series.
Indy Pro 2000 drivers running 25 laps. Our USF 2000 competitors here will be a 20-lapper. Of course, this event brought to you by Cooper Tires, the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Again, big fight further back. Drivers looking for positions. And really, again, you know, the coaches, the drivers, team managers will talk about the fact that this is a race where you come and you try to survive, especially if you're new to the series. Get a feel for this racetrack. You're going to be back next year. You'll go for race wins. It's so tough to do as a freshman in this series to come in here and really roll the dice. You're better to give yourself a little more room on the exit, maybe not use up all of the pavement out to the wall. A little bit of breathing room. You can make a mistake. You're still not going to get in trouble. This is a race where it's all about experience and come home with 2 quality finishes.
And that's what we see, the experienced drivers, those that are not rookies, up towards the front of the field at the start of this race. 6 of 7 rookies were towards the back of the field at the start of the race. And understandable so, that they're just entering in and getting experience. But that's why you see Neveu, Denmark, Garg, Rowe, and Jones, who is a rookie, by the way, but has the pedigree and a lot of experience up towards the front.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Jagger Jones, again, we talked about it in qualifying. 3rd-generation driver for Jagger Jones. Of course, his grandfather, the great Parnelli Jones. All that pedigree, all that legacy at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and of course his dad P.J. Jones as well, a very talented and highly acclaimed race car driver. Jagger coming out of karts, didn't follow into the open wheel ranks like so many other young drivers, went stock car racing, super late model racing, and did extremely well at that. I was thrilled to see him show up at New Jersey Motorsports Park last year and say, hey, I need to test with a team. Who should I be talking to? And he had already made contact with Cape Motorsports. We see him here this year. I'm thrilled to have him. He's a great young man, and I'm telling you, he's gonna be strong this year once he gets settled in. He's not running top 5 right now, but he will be challenging for race wins by the end of the year, I would expect.
This is the learning and education process that is beginning for Jagger Jones, an accomplished driver leading up to this, but this is a different series that he's come into than something that he's used to. So it's understandable he'd slip back a couple of spots where you see an experienced driver like Michael D'Orlando is in his 3rd year in the series, who's gained a couple of spots in the start. And I'm interested to see how he does. I was a little surprised to see him as far back as he was after qualifying, but what can he do during the race?
And I found out that there was an issue with the car at the end of qualifying. I'll get a confirmation on exactly what it was, but something in the electronic side of the car that had hindered him from finding fast laps. Now he's got to go to work here in the race. We're only a quarter of the way in right now. Michael D'Orlando starting to push on the D-Force number 12 of Bajoy Garg as they work their way to turn number 9 through turn 9 rather, right on the gearbox right now. And Todd, we talked about it in the Indy Pro 2000. It's hard to pass here. Turn 1, turn 4, turn 10, but the passes you get is when you put so much pressure on a driver in front of you, they make that mistake. Because this place is a track where it's easy to make a mistake, to overcook a braking zone, to get on the throttle too early. You have to be so precise that you can force that mistake.
This is why during the rest of the lap, a pass may be completed at turn 1, turn 4, turn 10, but it's set up well in advance. It takes a time to establish yourself, get the attention of the driver ahead of you, and force that mistake. It could take you a half a lap, sometimes more, before you can complete that pass.
That is a great point. Not all the passes happen where they happen. You're setting a driver up. You sell them that dummy in one corner where you dive to the inside, they block. Next time they block again, and you've got the big run to the outside. So it's all about strategy here. Running behind is tough as well because you do get that aero wash. You lose the air off the front wing. You're going to hear a lot about that from the NTT IndyCar Series drivers when they tuck in behind the gearbox. You lose all that air off the front wing. No air on the front wing means aerodynamics do not work. You lose that front grip, and that's where you have the entry and mid-corner understeer where the car will push away, and you're not able to get back on the throttle. So we'll talk more about that, but I think we're going to see a battle for P5 here pretty soon. Good fights further back as well. That was fun to watch. That was Jackson Lee, Frederick Lund, Yeruli, Victor Anderson, Jorge Garcia involved as well.
Thomas Naveau remains out front of Chase Denmark for the front of the field. That lead is just over 0.5 of a second. Fraser, Rowe, and Garg are the top 5. D'Orlando, though, closing in on that 5th position.
Indeed, looking at lap times as well. Almost everybody in the top 6 turning 1:13.4s. Everybody really almost the same lap times, which is so. It really shouldn't be surprising, to be honest, because they qualified all within 0.04 of a second. So let's be real. These guys are so evenly matched right now. It's going to take a slip up. It's going to take a minor mistake to allow somebody else to find a way through. It's Thomas Naveau, your leader. Jace Denmark in second. Billy Fraser third. So how about Canada, America, New Zealand, 1, 2, 3, part of the international field that we have in this year's Road to Indy. Miles Rowe having a strong run here as well for Pabst Racing. The African-American out of New York. Winner last year in New Jersey in that wet weather race, came on at the end. A huge victory from Miles Rowe. Talented young driver with a lot of charisma off the racetrack as well. I don't know that he has the budget for the entire year right now, Todd, but this is about, hey, listen, I want to go racing. I want to show what I got, and I'll keep digging to try to find the rest of the budget.
And that's what drivers will do is, okay, I'm signed, and he's with Pabst Racing this year, an established team that understands the series, so he's making his attempt to try to get in, show what he can do with the best equipment and one of the top teams that's been around for a long time. Maybe it presents an opportunity to run the full year.
And last year, a single car effort with Force Indy as well. Of course, Force Indy's moved to Indy Lights now with Ernie Francis Jr., but it was a one-car effort. Rookie driver, rookie team, you know what I mean? Just didn't have all the tools around him that he needed to step up. That's the same thing with Trey Burke, who's now running inside the top 10. Trey Burke, a young driver out of Texas, who came up through the junior sprint car ranks, ran midgets, and said, hey, I want to follow in the footsteps of my hero, A.J. Foyt. This guy did midgets, but he did a road course racing too. deal goes together. They do a program last year, but they just didn't have the right people around. Jeff Sinden runs that program, and he knows what's going on in terms. He's been around the IndyCar paddock forever. But these cars are so temperamental. They were able to get an engineer, the right mechanic, brought Sage Karam in to coach Trey as well, and he feels so much different out of the gate. This is a guy we used to see at the tail of the field. Now he's running in the top 10.
Having Sage Karam, who had great success in the road to Indy as a voice.
Our first ever champion.
He was a fantastic driver, so understands what it takes to have success at different levels of the road to Indy as well, and how to make the progress through the system.
Yeah, champion, our first ever USF2000 champion, then would go on, of course, to win the championship at Indy Lights as well. So a tremendous driver, multi-time Indy 500 starter with Dreyer Reibold. Good to have Sage in the paddock with us and working with young Trey Burke. Half a second to lead right now for Thomas Nauvoo. Will the young Canadian find himself with a race win? We're closing in on the halfway point now. 8 laps down, a couple laps before we get to the halfway point of what will be a 20-lapper here in the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Of course, back at it again tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock start time for the Indy Pro 2000 category. Our only action for the road to Indy tomorrow. We're back again then on Sunday in the late morning before the NTT IndyCar Series are on track for USF2000 to cap off their doubleheader. So, you know, anytime we're at these events, whether it's USF2000, Indy Pro, or Indy Lights, it's the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. This is where they all came through. Rinus VeeKay, USF2000, Indy Pro, Indy Lights, was an Indy Pro 2000 champion a couple of years ago.
Kyle Kirkwood, the other example, too, who is a champion at all 3 levels. Yeah, and 31 of 50 races, extraordinary. But this is the kind of teaching and development that goes on in the road to Indy, and we're seeing that the drivers gain the benefit as they make their way through.
One of the things we've started this year, we haven't had a chance to mention here yet, and we'll do that throughout the weekend, our new USF Juniors program. So a brand new program that Anderson Promotions is putting together. USF Juniors, essentially a development program for drivers to move into USF 2000. We're using the Ligier chassis, and we'll have a 6-event program this year for USF Juniors. Drivers anywhere from 13 to 16, 17 years of age, developing them in our road to Indy culture, how we do things. We'll have the AMR safety crew there as well. Safety always high on our radar. So I'm excited to see that program happen, because these are the kids in USF Juniors we're going to be talking about for the next 6, 7, 8 years. It's going to be a great program, and obviously very tightly connected to the road to Indy.
And it's sometimes having an extra step in there is the right move as well, because there are drivers that, whether they come from karts, whether they come from different disciplines, it's a struggle to make the leap into the road to Indy. So having this program that will allow them to develop and move up at their own pace will only be a benefit. So it's a great job by Dan Anderson and his group, who've just done so much to develop drivers.
And the motivation behind it, Todd, was because our USF 2000 program, which was essentially the entry level into the road to Indy, has got so competitive that we saw drivers coming out of the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series. They're our official school. You win their championship Formula Car Series, you get a scholarship into USF 2000. Those drivers were coming in and doing well, but they weren't right up front because they needed one more year of experience, because we're so competitive in this class. So for next year, the winner of the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series, that scholarship will take them to USF Juniors, a brand new car coming for 2023. The Halo, essentially the same tub as the USF 2000 car, a detuned engine. It's going to be probably 4 or 5 seconds slower than the USF 2000 car. It'll be an ideal step out of karting, out of the Lucas Oil School, out of Formula 1600, into USF Juniors, into USF 2000.
Halfway through race number 1 of the USF 2000 series, Thomas Nauvoo remains out in front by 0.6 of a second. Denmark, Fraser, Rowe. Have maybe a chance at getting up into the top 5 a lap or 2 ago.
Yeah, again, coming down the front straightaway, you can see that Jace Denmark not done at all. And I'll tell you the move that we missed, Miles Rowe on the last lap, able to get by Billy Fraser. So trouble there for Fraser. I'm not sure what happened to Billy, but he lost a spot. So Miles Rowe goes up into 3rd. Billy Fraser in 4th. Bajoy Garg now 6th spot. 7th is D'Orlando. So look at this stack up here. Rowe, Fraser, Garg, D'Orlando. All within about a second of each other. That is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. We'll keep an eye on that battle as we have 9 laps remaining here. Miles Rowe, though, has made it 2 Pabst Racing drivers in the top 3. Still a long way to go in this race, but man, what a good run here for Miles Rowe. Started fourth, kind of slotted into that position, but fought his way back forward to get the one spot. And this is the battle for the lead right here, coming through the kink. Out of 9 over to 10, and we have ourselves a battle. That's the leaders right there. Only a length between Jace Denmark and the leader, Thomas Navu.
So this is the opportunity that Denmark is looking for. He's closed up within, and now he'll try to get Thomas Navu to pay attention to him behind him as opposed to focusing on the corners ahead. And that's what is a driver who's looking to gain position wants to do. You'll see him move to the left. You'll see him move to the right. You'll see them try to pull up as close as they can in some of the corners. Try to distract that driver. Try to get his attention. If you make a mistake, that creates an opportunity.
And you can see coming into turn number 1 there, maybe a little more of a shallow entry, a more early turn in for Thomas Navu. Wanting then to get into the head of Denmark as well. Say, hey, listen, I'm not going to open the inside of the door for you. You're going to have to earn this thing. I'm going to start fading my way into the entry. There's so much exit in turn number 1 that it's not like you're really having to roll through there because there's exit speed. You're able to drift the car out and get it back in for turn number 2 quickly enough. So there's your lead through 8 and 9. Ooh, a little wiggle there. That was the front. That was the car coming over top of the crown of the road there and getting light a little bit. And you see the correction there by Jace Denmark. You wonder what some of these kids get from karting. It's reaction times.
100%.
Yeah.
That's where the quick hands come from, because you have to react that quickly to save it, to correct it, just as Jace Denmark did there. Just a little bobble, but then the quick hands snap it back and you're back under control. It will have cost him just the smallest little bit of time, and that's the issue that he'll have, but a quick correct by those fast hands.
You know, anytime I see that, I kind of think about Marco Andretti out in the rain qualifying session at Detroit, where he was the only guy out there, and everybody's like, he was on board, absolute master, and the car kept flicking on him. And these young drivers get that from karting, man. They understand that. The reaction time, those cars are so active in terms of the steering input. When you're running in karts, there's no suspension, so it's not a soft rollover. You're literally completely active, and that was a really strong adjustment there. Here's a fight a little further back. Let's pick that up. I think that is Simon Sykes and Spike Kohlbecker. What a good scrap. That is, I think, for, I want to say 7th and 8th. Simon Sykes in the Legacy Autosport number 19 and Spike Kohlbecker in the Turn 3 Motorsport number 33. That's the fight there through Turn 9. Another scrap right behind them as well with Burke and Jones. I like this. This is good racing right now.
This is what we want to see. This is what we expect to see and usually do in the USF2000 series. Equally matched cars. There's that battle again between Kohlbecker and Burke again.
I think Kohlbecker may have fallen back a little bit. Not sure what happened there. We'll try to pick him back up here again. The Cape Motorsports cars are essentially exactly the same. They're not making it easy on us at all this year. The complete white cars coming across the line. Again, let's say we're going to put lap number 14 in the books, so 6 to go. Thomas Navu is the leader. It'll be Jace Denmark back by a half a second. Rowe runs 3rd, Fraser 4th, Guard 5th. Go back another 1.5 seconds. D'Orlando's fallen back a bit. It's actually Simon Sykes now on D'Orlando. So Sykes has been able to get away from Kohlbecker and is closed now up on Michael D'Orlando. So driver into pit lane. Looks to be like the number 9 of Jose Garcia. So Jose Garcia into pit lane for Jay Howard driver development. But wow, we got ourselves a couple of battles forming up here now. Drivers got to watch themselves. Fraser has Guard closing up a little bit. Fraser put a good lap in there last time by. He's 2.2 seconds behind Rowe, but Billy Fraser, who again only got 5 laps into practice, did a good job in qualifying, and now finds himself top 5. This is going to be a good start for a second-year driver in this series. He didn't have the best of years last year, had some ups and downs for Fraser, but if he can get out of here with a couple of top 5s, he should be absolutely pleased and really fueled with momentum for the rest of the season.
And that's sort of the unofficial plan with USF 2000 series, is come in, gain some experience, get the understanding of the series, understand and learn the cars better, and as you make your way through the second season, then you have the knowledge that comes in. You know the tracks, you know the cars, and that's the time where you start to improve your performance and really challenge for race wins.
Exactly that now. We're seeing that blue and orange machine of Simon Sykes. Pretty easy to pick up on the racetrack. Again, running now in that 7th position. We'll watch his lap times. Didn't get a good lap time in there. Fell back to a 1:14.2, almost a full second slower than D'Orlando. We had closed up to within a half a second, but not a good lap there for Simon Sykes. Like he might have had a tank slapper somewhere, a little mistake. as he's rolling through turn number 7. This is this tight little area. When you do the track walk, Todd, I'm not sure if you've got a chance to walk it or get on a golf cart. It's insanely tight coming through that particular part of the racetrack.
Well, imagine sitting on the ground and going through there, and it feels even tighter because that's what the drivers see. They're essentially sitting on the ground, and they have 3-foot concrete walls beside them, and you have to thread the needle, in a sense, to get through there because you're also trying to get through there quickly, which is the tricky part. And yes, I have walked through and ridden through, and it's a challenge sometimes.
And again, through that corner, you're really coming off the one apex, shooting by, then diving back in to get in the car straight. So you can get that braking done in a straight line, then rotate back into the corner. This is a very challenging racetrack. And again, it's tough for these USF2000 drivers as the first race of the season. It'd be nice for us to take them somewhere with maybe a little more forgiving, right? Some runoff, but it's the start of February. Everybody loves St. Petersburg. This is where we are with the road to Indy. So let's put it this way. I don't know that the drivers will have a bigger challenge than the one they do the first time they get a green flag.
Still Thomas Nauvoo out front. He has led from the drop of the green flag. Jace Denmark is close to under half a second away in second. Rowe, Fraser, and Gard complete the top 5. Michael D'Orlando 6th.
Looking at fastest lap times, that belongs to Miles Rowe, 113.1. That not enough, I believe. Yeah, everybody was down into the 112.7, so nobody on fastest laps here. Again, everybody starting this race, I believe, on the scuff tires they used in qualifying. They'll all have a fresh set for tomorrow. The question is, we're getting to the end here. I don't see anybody making a pit stop to come in to try to find more speed. So, indeed, not the kind of strategy we saw in Indy Pro 2000. But again, laps winding down. 3 laps to go for Thomas Nauvoo. Will the young Canadian out of Quebec, Canada, get yet another win? Almost a surprise victor last year at Road America. He stepped up big time, but I always do say this. If there's a race when the drivers are going to step it up in USF 2000, the rookies, it's Road America. We've gotten through St. Pete, Barber, Indy, the Oval. Road America is that 5th race where they're like, oh, I'm pretty comfortable now. I'm not scared of you. So,
and you're in a setting where you have lots of open area. You have the beautiful facility at Road America, and it's a track that so many drivers enjoy racing on. It's not surprising that you might get a first victory there.
And a lot of these drivers hit that track a lot on iRacing as well. So they've got tons and tons of laps. Some of the other facilities, like I say, Petersburg isn't on iRacing. They can use the Symmetric Driver Lab that we have, the on-track sim here. We had a lot of guys in that because Greg DeGeorgis was able to build this track in his simulator. We have that trackside at all of our events, and a number of racers leverage Greg's from Symmetric's opportunities there. But otherwise, St. Petersburg's not a track you can practice online either. So, white flag will come next time around. 2 laps remaining here right now for Thomas Nauvoo. It's only 0.4 of a second. Here's a fight a little further back. Yeah, that's going to be Weir and Hayes coming across the line. No, Christian Weir. Oh, these guys are going at it right now. Oh, do we have an opportunity? Almost a pass. I think Miles Rowe coming through. We may have had a pass for turn 2. I think Denmark tried to go to the inside. That's the top 3. They are on top of each other here with 2 laps to go. Down into turn number 4. Nauvoo locks up the right front. That might be Rowe now into the 2nd spot. Look at this. Challenge aggressively. You don't want to throw it away on the opening race of the year, though. That's Simon Sykes coming through there from 7th. That's the leaders through 8 and 9. Stack them and pack them, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Is nose to gearbox. Look at this battle. They'll work their way out of turn number 9. We're going to cap this things off. No pass down into turn number 10. But we're definitely setting up for a crazy final circuit for USF 2000. Thomas Nauvoo still leading the way. Flat out through turn number 11 there. Joel Miller said in a USF 2000 car, you can be sipping a macchiato going through that corner flat out because the car's perfect. It's 12 and stuff. Here comes the battle right now. Miles Rowe has gone to 2nd. Can Rowe grab the victory? He's going to try to go to the bottom of the racetrack. There's paint. There's no rubber down there. They'll go into turn number 1. They'll lock it up. Rowe goes to the inside. Coming out of turn number 1. They're side by side again. Through turn number 2. Who's going to come out of 3? Oh, the contact! Both drivers are off! Rowe and Nauvoo. Contact in turn number 2. They didn't want to give it up, and the leaders have made contact. Jace Denmark is going to take that lead. Yellow flag flying, and contact made by 1st and 2nd, battling it out of the final circuit. Red flag has come out. This race is going to be done, And I have to believe that Jace Denmark will get the victory as the leaders take each other out. Coming through turn number 2. Todd, what did I say? You do not want to throw it away. Look at this. That is a massive impact for Miles Rowe. You can see he just put the visor up. That is great news, but that car is wrecked for Miles Rowe. And for a driver with not much budget, you had to give that one up. That was a side-by-side move. Rowe went to the inside, went through the corner a little bit. Oh, I feel for Thomas Naveau. He went back to the inside on the over-under, and they were side-by-side coming through two. Neither driver wanted to give it up, and that is some hard impact. The entire front side of the car for Miles Rowe making contact. I'll say this right now. Let's take the opportunity. One of the biggest parts of this road to Indy, the same thing will be said for USF juniors, are those guys right there in the blue and white. The AMR safety crew, the absolute best in the business, and he climbs out of the race car, folks. Miles Rowe out of the race car and wondering what just happened. He was looking at his second race win. You look at the half shaft sitting down here. That is a Tatis wrecking yard in turn number 3. We're going to see a replay of this, guys. So those of you at home, hold on. Those of you here trackside, have a look at the big boards. We're going to give you the replay. As I said, they were battling. It was an over-under. Here they come through the corner. Does something happen to the inside? No, that was just Miles Rowe, I think, not giving it up on the outside. You can see that trying to come through turn number 2. And how does Jace Denmark get through unscathed? You can see the damage already. There's going to be secondary contact here into the wall for Thomas Naveau. Everybody else coming through. The rear wing of Rowe's car sitting there. That's going to move Bajoy Garg up a couple of spots. That is Billy Fraser potentially up another spot. Fraser's going to finish second, I think. Billy Fraser. Bajoy Garg third. Michael D'Orlando fourth. And Simon Sykes up into fifth. Trey Burke into sixth spot. That's a crash deep in the field. That was one of the D-Force cars making contact with Rowe's wing. But, you know, coming out of that corner like that, when the driver's kind of in front of you, you got to hope that you got to give some room.
It just looked like the left front of Rowe and the right rear of Thomas Naveau had just enough to catch them both and collect them both, and then they were sliding off into the concrete and both out of the race.
I'm not the guy behind the wheel. I'm not a professional race car driver, so I'll step back a little bit. This is what this is, Todd. This is a couple of young drivers who believe that they have their future hanging in the balance, right? They've got to win races. Miles Rowe, we talked about it, doesn't have a full budget for the season. I got to expect the budget might be gone right there because I think he believed that I got to win this race. Made that deep move down to the inside. And the one thing about coming to the inside at turn number 1, nobody goes there. There's no rubber there. It's dirty. That's why he slid through. I'll tell you, I'm going to head to victory lane because we still got hardware to pass out. That was a wild finish here in USF2000. Todd, I'll let you wrap things up here trackside with the full results. But, man, I'll tell you, let's just cap things off. We could have asked for a better – it almost went green to checker.
It almost did, except for that final lap crash between Rowe and Thomas Naveau. But what an unbelievable first event. And, yeah, you're right. That car is probably done for Miles Rowe.
I'll leave the unofficial results to you, and then I'll see you in victory lane.
All right, we'll hear from Rob momentarily as he will talk to Jace Denmark, who found himself out at the front of the field with that last lap crash between Miles Rowe and Thomas Naveau. Both out of the cars, both are okay, but the cars did not complete their way around. As we continue to look through the finishing order, it was Garg and D'Orlando who wound up third and fourth, and Sykes, who comes away with a fifth place finish, kind of handed to him. Simon Sykes, who was trying to find his way forward, but wound up finishing in the top 5. As you see, Miles Rowe and Thomas Naveau slip all the way back to 17th and 18th. Jorge Garces was exited the track early, came down pit lane and did not return. But what a frustrating end to the day for Miles Rowe and for Thomas Naveau, both who felt that they needed and wanted that win, as Rob was telling us about Miles Rowe, who doesn't have much of a budget, hoping for a big success and hoping to complete with a race victory. Instead, it's Jace Denmark who comes away with the win, who battled hard with Thomas Naveau through much of this race. Naveau got away with a pretty good start and was usually about half a second or a little bit more ahead of Jace Denmark. But then it was Miles Rowe who managed to find his way around Denmark, and the two of them climbed up close to Thomas Naveau in the closing couple of laps And then Miles Rowe made that move to the inside, started coming out of corner number 14, tried to put the pressure on as corner number 1 approached. You look towards the inside, and Thomas Naveau tried to stay and leave a little bit of room. And that's the difficulty coming through corner number 1, is the track is narrow, going through turns through second and third corners on the track, and it's a challenge for drivers. You can run side by side through there, but it is very difficult to leave enough room for a competitor. And when it's the last lap of the race and you're fighting for every position possible, you're trying to leave room, but also you don't feel that you can sacrifice your line going through the final couple of corners, and you want to make sure that you can close the deal. Unfortunately, it did not happen for either Miles Rowe or Thomas Naveau, who crash out on the last lap again. The good news is that both climbed out. Let's have another look at the replay of this last lap incident between Miles Rowe and Thomas Naveau as we wait for Jace Denmark to make his way to the victory podium. This is the shot looking back as they make their way through 2 and 3, and yes, it is the right front of Miles Rowe that touches the left rear of Thomas Naveau that sends him into the concrete barrier. Rowe continues to skid across the track, and he has another hard impact and really damages that car severely at the end. Jace Denmark, with quick reflexes of those hands, moves to the right to go around both of those skidding cars and find his way through and eventually claim the checkered flag as the race finishes under yellow, and then the red flag comes out ordering everyone to pit lane. And then there you see, coming through that 2-3 complex so quickly, and the debris of Thomas Naveau's wing is still out on the track, it is difficult to slow down and maneuver out of the way with other cars ahead of you. Dramatic end to the race. It looked like Thomas Naveau might be able to hold on. He was fighting it for all he could to hold off Miles Rowe, but unfortunately, the two had contact going through the 2 and 3 complex, crashing, sending them both into the wall, both okay, but both out of the race early. Just as IndyCar fans are synonymous with passion and enthusiasm, RP Funding is synonymous with saving you money when you refinance your home. With home values at an all-time high, let RP Funding help you turn your home equity into the cash you need. RP Funding is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Visit us at rpfunding.com. NMLS 70168 terms and conditions apply. What a morning of racing, and into the afternoon of racing. We will have more action on track coming up in just a little bit. We'll have victory ceremonies for the USF2000 series. Jace Denmark comes away with the victory after the 2 front runners crash out. And then we will have more action with the Indy Lights coming up with their qualifying session beginning at 1:40 this afternoon. That'll be followed by SRO GT America, who have wrapped up their autograph session and will be out on track at 2:25 for race number 1 of the weekend here in St. Petersburg. NTT IndyCar Series follows, Mazda MX-5 Cup race number 1, and then we'll wrap up the day with the Indy Lights. Indy Lights qualifying is coming up next on track. That begins at 1:40 p.m. We'll join the IndyCar Radio Network for that qualifying session of 30 minutes. That will get going at 1:40 in the afternoon. Everyone's still catching their breath down along pit lane as all the cars have returned in the USF2000 series, and there will be a lot of work done by those teams to try to prepare those cars and get ready to get back out on track on Sunday morning. USF2000 series will race again on Sunday morning. That's a bit easier than the Indy Pro teams that have to turn around and come back out and start the day tomorrow morning. Here we are getting another look at our schedule on the day. As mentioned, it's the Indy Lights qualifying, GT America's race, IndyCar Series will be out for practice, MX-5 Cup race, and then the Indy Lights practice session that comes up a little bit later on this afternoon. Rob Howden is making his way to victory podium. The USF2000 drivers are making their way down. Jace Denmark, who tried to hunt down Thomas Naveau, gave way to Miles Rowe, his teammate. The two had contact, he and Naveau, on the last lap. And Jace Denmark found his way through. Billy Fraser and Bejoy Gorg round out the podium finishes, and we'll hear from Rob Howden in just a couple of minutes once we get everyone out to pit lane. Swipe, email, pinging for chalice, clinking, and grab a Stella Artois with someone you love. Make time for the life Artois. Always enjoy responsibly. Don't forget that we have our party in the park tomorrow as well, 4 to 6 p.m. IndyCar stars other series as well, special guests, music, games, and much more. The IndyCar Party in the Park is tomorrow. To enjoy everything that downtown St. Pete has to offer after our on-track action tomorrow. Let's go down to Rob Howden and Victory Podium for the USF2000 series.
Thank you so much, Todd. And again, what a wild finish. Almost green to checker in both of our races. Last lap was a wild one for sure, and the wreck in turn number 2 obviously shook up our podium, but all 3 of these drivers deserving of the positions for sure. This was the Cooper Tires USF2000 Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Let's get our top 3 up here. Finishing in 3rd spot today, put your heads together for Bajoy Garg. Bajoy for D-Force Racing. Onto the podium for the first time. We'll bring Frank Skreck up here once again. Help us pass out a little bit of hardware here. Good job for Bajoy to work his way onto the podium. Good fight all day long here. You got this driver coming up here right now, only got, I think, 5 laps in practice, but then fought back in qualifying. He ends up finding himself P2 today, his best finish. Put your hands together from Exclusive Autosport, Billy Fraser. The Kiwi from New Zealand. Onto the podium. Frank will bring another trophy up for him. Billy did a great job there today. Awesome fight. Lots more coming for Billy Fraser and Bajoy Garg throughout this season. Again, 3 different teams on the podium here. Last year, we started the 2021 season. This driver came out as a rookie to watch, and I'll tell you, this is the way you get the season underway. Had a good run there for P3. A podium was in the clinch, but man, issue there, gets through cleanly. We'll call it a victory for this driver for Pabst Racing. Give it up, the winner today, Jace Denmark. Jace, sometimes you get super clean wins. Sometimes you'll take what you can get. You had a good car. You were there second the whole time. Talk about what happened in front of you and how you were able to get through.
Well, I think it was good to be in the 3rd place position right there because something's always going to go down on the last lap, right? And they just locked wheels and hit the outside wheel and outside wall, and that's just what it is. I'm glad to be in that position to capitalize, but it sucks to happen to else.
Really, the bottom line is you've been fast the whole time, right? You were quickest in practice. You were quick in qualifying. How much better can you make the car to be able to be good when we get back doing it again on Sunday morning?
Well, I think the extra rubber on the track plus new tires, because we used our scrubs this race, will really help us capitalize a win.
Give me the emotions of getting the victory. I know you weren't able to come across the line under the checker at full speed, but you get the win. You won a lot of races in your life. How's this one stack up?
Definitely the best so far.
Who do you want to thank today?
All of Pabst, my family, and everyone that makes it happen. Thank you so much.
Jace, congratulations. Hop up top here. He's a winner on the road to Indy, folks. Jace Denmark for Pabst Racing. Getting the win. Let's bring Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires to bring that trophy that'll go alongside many of the karting trophies that Jace has. Stack one in here for the road to Indy. Again, a future star of the NTT IndyCar Series. This is what it's all about. Starting off the season. Excellent job for all of our drivers here right now. Everybody look at the cameras, folks. What a great way. It caps things off, actually, for our road to Indy on-track action. We've got some autograph sessions later on today. Some Q&A sessions at the Cooper Tire stage if you're working your way through. But again, these drivers on the very first rung of this Road to Indy program. 3 different drivers on the podium, and the first time on the podium for both Bajoy and Billy Fraser. First of many I would respect because these guys are quick. So again, that's going to wrap things up here from Victory Lane. A crazy final lap. The contact between Thomas Naveau and Miles Rowe put them both into the wall, coming out of turn number 2 over to turn number 3. Somehow snaking through the carnage comes Jace Denmark, who had a 3rd place finish essentially locked up. But like he said, P3 is not the worst place to be when you know chaos is coming on the final circuit. He comes out with the win and will take the point lead into their 2nd race on Sunday. All in all, folks, it's been a great day here so far. For those of you tuning in on the Road to Indy TV app or on any one of the platforms where our Road to Indy TV live coverage is on, we thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, we're back tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, green flag for the drivers in Indy Pro 2000. We'll race again late in the morning on Sunday with USF2000 to cap off this year's Road to Indy trip here to the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. We thank you so much for tuning in, folks. My name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.